Hello and welcome to this first look exploring session looking at Gigantomachia, or Work for Jupiter, a show thing performed in one of the Oxbridge colleges sometime between 1613 and 1619. It's another one of these fun entertainment text things that we have had a lot of enjoyment with before, and this one is a really interesting one. It's got all sorts of stuff to unpack. Not very long, but we'll see what we get out of it. We have a slightly smaller room than planned, so some of us will be talking to ourselves, probably me most of the time. But to read the part of Chorus, Rumble, and Neptune is
Alan in Suffolk.
Reading Bounce Big, Mars, Pluto, and Saturn is
all the men. My name's Lynn. I'm coming to you from the northwestern United States today.
Reading Jupiter and Thunder-thwack is
Lois in London.
And reading Huge High and Pallas is
Hi, I'm American. Don't you usually just talk to yourself, Tom, Rob?
Absolutely. And I'm your host, Robert Crighton. I'll be reading stage directions as well as Bumcrack, Rouncivall, Thump, and Mercury. Though I'll try and unpack some of those to somebody else as we go along if I can. Okay, let's see how this goes. This could be interesting. I think it feeds the chaos of it all. So we have a prologue thing with a chorus who is the knave of clubs.
What, are ye sat so close? 'Tis well done, well done. Yet I could wish your carding still had held on. Christmas once past, you scorn the knave of clubs. I'm thrust out of doors, those churlish chubs. The boys within there bid me seek my fate. Tell me that cards are almost out of date. Indeed, the first three knaves are, I confess. But I, the chiefest of the mess, do purpose for to show ye one more bout, or two, if faith, ere Christmas once go out. Yet not at moor nor gleek our play is rough, where ye shall see the gods and giants cuff, and now and then a game or two at Lodom, when that gods rough have overthrowed 'em. Sit still a while and see, my noble hearts, how valiantly the clubs will play their parts. I will be chorus, they'll make quick dispatch. Whoever meets with clubs now meets his match.
And the chorus, the knave of clubs, sits. Scene 1. There is an alarum. Enter with victory Jupiter, Neptune, Pluto. Saturn is bound and crowned, led in by Mars and Mercury.
Thus, with a powerful arm, your forces quelled, and haughty courage. You that could not wield the weighty pack-horse burden of a crown, why, we will ease you. Good sirs, take it down. Thou that to lingering hopes mean'st to adjourn us, we'll carve now for ourselves. We will, Saturnus.
They uncrown Saturn.
Tell me, with what face canst thou stand to all that's laid against thee, bloody cannibal? Thou on thy children's entrails that didst gorge, gnawing their mangled limbs. I do not forge that which I now have spoke. Thou know'st thy tyranny doomed me to slaughter too. Was ever any the like to this once heard of villainy? Why, 'tis a grievous sin for one to kill any, much more the plants that sprung from thine own trunk. There's none would do it, I think, but being drunk. Thou knowest my nurses hired taborers to beat their sheepskins, as we hire laborers, and all to drown my din when I had cried, lest if thou heardst me, they and I had died. But I survive, and live to recompense thee for these cruelties. Sirs, have him hence.
Oh, whither do you drag me in a garter? What must I down to Tenebrous Tartar? Is this the part of sons? Hath your love kept tune with nature's lore? Fie, Jove, fie, Pluto, Neptune. This is your doing, Jove, an act felonious, thus to despise. They hoary father Cronius, if thou hast any sons, this be thy curse. May they use thee as thou hast me, no worse.
Have done your growling. Hold your toothless rage. We have power, but will not spare to use this heat to swage. Had nature made thee any but our sire, thou shouldst have dearly paid for it, ye hear? If that ye had not, let me ne'er be seen, had ye been full as good as Georgia Green. Since 'tis as 'tis, we'll grant ye have a room amongst the planets. That shall be your doom. And now you're old, that ye may tend devotion, 30 long years we give you for your motion. What powers else unto ourself alone as proper we'll reserve. Away, begone.
Exit Saturn.
Now, since the world belongs unto us three, let's share it equally, I, thou, and he. Ourself will be heaven's king, because you know our power effected Saturn's overthrow. You of the sea, and of all waters lord. You of earth's netherlands. Do you thus accord?
We do.
Then
We
in
do.
where we will feast a largess. That done, each one go thither where his charge is.
And they exit. Isn't the rhyming fun?
Oh.
I mean, it's subtle as a brick, and it does set the tone very nice. I mean, in a sense, it's a perfectly respectable depiction of a certain part of the mythology. It doesn't. It's the jaunty jolliness comes from the writing. It doesn't come from the situation, which is there's nothing farcical happening here. But it does have a nice bounce to it, as it were. Felonious Cronius. Nice to have a shout out for Georgia Green. Thoughts from the room, Eric?
Yeah, it feels a lot more like you're in for a lot more fun than the actual what do you call it? The plays by the Age plays by Thomas Haywood, which were very violent and very sort of triggering, problematic, blah blah. Whereas this just seems like an excuse for a romp.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, no spoilers here, but there's going to be violence, but I think it's going to be quite funny. He said, Lynn.
Yeah, the rhyme certainly sets a mood, but I think also sort of the ridiculousness of some of the characters' reactions, like Saturn's like, okay, I tried to eat my children, but I'm the real victim here.
Okay, let's move on to their antagonists as we go into scene 2, into the giants. And the giants are Bounce Big, Huge High, Rumble, Bumcrack, Thunder-thwack, and Thump apace.
You doughty giant, shall I speak unto ye about a matter I would break unto ye? If you will promise your assisting hands, our powers united, who is he withstands? Bounce Big, your Lurdan, I, though now made humble by Saturn's brats above, acquaint ye. Rumble, Huge High, Thunder-thwack, Bumcrack, Thump apace, with uncouth chances that are come to pass. Jove, that usurper, did late unthrone his father Saturn, that honest old crone, with his 2 brothers, Neptune and Pluto grim, his champion Mars, and more that follow him. As Apollo, Mercury, and his mankind Pallas do use us, earth's sons, ill, plainly shall as appear unto ye all by my nanare, briefly, without ambrages or fajare.
I should point out that's all entirely accurate. I know that doesn't help you.
Yeah.
Out with it, brave Bounce Big. We are all agog till we may hear how to throw this clog.
Know then, those haughty gods are too boisterous, who in this little plot of earth would cloister us. You see the earth, why, 'tis no habitation. To bound our valors, we must have a nation. larger than this poor world is, to contain us, which if you'll consent to, we may gain us.
This panning of us up, so Stomach-eye. They'll force us to Gigantomachia.
You're right. I mean to bandy with the gods, though you may think, perhaps, there is great odds twixt us and them. Yet since they bear us grudge, there's no one here but scorns to be a drudge. Why, who is he amongst us, not as good as any of them all? I'll spend my blood before I'll bear this roguish slavery. Go to, you do not spy their knavery. Though they be gods, we be not silly men. How say ye, lads, to this? What will ye then? Consent together to effect this plot? Dare ye adventurers, sirs?
Fish, dare we not? Do ye misdoubt our resolution? I hope we're not of that constitution. Sit fast, proud Jove, your best, and Juno Joan. For Rouncivall and I bespeak your throne. For Rouncivall, my wife, and I, her husband, Rumble, demean, take it as you will, both down to tumble.
By right of conquest, we may all depose. So Mercury, Jove's heir, will wipe your nose. Tut, never tell us of your caduceus. Light nimble heels will fetch our bright Briareus, with 100 hands to clog your hands and feet. Oh, Jupiter, to look on. Thus I think meet.
This hand shall pluck up Pelion and Ossa, and throw them to Olympus, as we toss a light tennis ball. We'll front them in the spheres, and each man pluck a god down by the ears.
Though I speak little, I'll not be a cipher. 'Tis not a petty god stroke that I'll fly for. We will oppose ourselves in full career against the strongest, and I care not where. And though I set myself, I'll cope alone with Jove himself, wet in the burning zone.
Bid them defiance.
Gods beware your cruppers. We'll have yet our green cheese toasted for our suppers.
'Tis not your proud looks that can turn and wind us, but ye shall know, ye come and are behind us.
Excellent. Yeah, be careful of your asses. Wort in the burning zone. Rather than wet. So it's a very serious play that is very serious. But it's still, I'm really enjoying its silliness. Alan and Eric.
Yeah, I mean, it's Greek myth as retold by Dr. Zeus, isn't it?
Dare ye adventure, sirs? Pish, dare we not? Eric.
I was thinking, like, during the second scene where, you've got the giants, they're basically like the aliens from Space Jam, who are like, have little teeny voices, but then become these huge creatures. I don't know, they're fun.
Bash things good, we do. It's sort of
pretty much.
I'm getting a sort of Bam Bam quality to them from Lynn.
It might be funny if you were doing this live with actual bodies, to have the gods be of average size adults, and then have like 10-year-olds be the giants, and they're actually all like 4'10",
There is a good pragmatic reason why that might be the case, but we will discover that later. But yes, if this is a university entertainment, there may be certainly younger than our modern university bodies about. So that is possibly part of the joke and possibly very true. Any other thoughts before we dive into scene 3? I mean, we've got our setup. Let's see where this rumble in the Olympus goes. Eric.
Well, I like to think that this is kind of like a wrestling match where you've got like the whole, in one corner we have, in the other corner we have. It's kind of like you've set it up that way, and then. I like how their solution is basically to fight it out, as opposed to like to use stealth or something, more diplomatic.
Yeah, I think they all need their own individual walk down tracks from sort of 80s fight movies. Anyway, scene 3. Enter the gods again. Enter Mars, Pallas, Mercury, and of course Jupiter.
Ye champions Mars and Pallas of our kingdom, I am to acquaint ye lately with a thing done, since Saturn left the crown, which now divided is by ourself and by our brothers guided, in our 3 regions, which by portions even are sea and hell for them, and for me, heaven, with the adjacent and contiguous earth, a portion more than theirs by right of birth. Neptune, his subjects, they observe his lore, and bound themselves in banks for running o'er. And when his herald, the blue-mantled Triton, gives but his summons once, they all run right on the ways of love and duty, as say authors, to gratify or grace their king of waters. My brother Pluto hath a greater charge, his territories being so dark, so large, yet, for aught I hear, Cerberus and Charon order his goblins so that never dare one amongst them all at government repine or study to depose him, as do mine.
Pallas and Mars startle.
'Tis too true, Pallas, and thou, noble Mars. I am opposed by the universe, that were it not for your peace, except my wife, Jove would be quickly weary of his life.
Ambitious varlets, do they seek our kingdom? Cannot the earth contain them? I will bring down their lofty stomachs. I am all patience. If that come, I'll bring them that shall chase ye hence. Vulcan, my armor! Fury, bring my horse. Employments towards. Now here's work for Mars.
Pray, take me with you. Never go alone. I'll be no longer Pallas, but Bellona.
Heaven's herald Hermes doth his service tender to stop this mischief, lest it should more gender.
Your loves, our thanks. But do ye know the brood of these insulting rebels? It were good I did acquaint you. They are sons 100, the snake-foot sons of earth. I heard 'em numbered, how moved, how heartened to this foul attempt, I know not, unless upon contempt, which if your power can aught, or aught can I, were they mine own sons, they should dearly buy. I swear.
Oh, do not.
But I will, by Gis.
That's not the oath that I did fear I was.
Persist they, I stand bound with wrathful spleen and fiery indignation, sharpened keen with whetstone of revenge, never to slake my anger's fury, till the earth I make an unfrequented desert, and the brood of earthlings all do perish with a flood. By Styx, I swear, that dreadful Hellespont, and that oath's deep enough, or else the devil's on't. Amongst them all there shall not one rascallion survive, but honest Pyrrha and Deucalion.
They are but rightly served on just condition with the water for to purge their for to quench their hot ambition.
Go, Mercury, and both our brothers summon. In our name will them bravely for to come on, with all their kind subsidiary forces, munition, victuals, armor, men, and horses.
I go, and having great love for my warrant, I shall not spare to do the rebels errant. Exit Mercury.
I could desire the hecatomb of these were only sacrificed, thy fierce wrath to appease.
Forbear to motion it, his oath's inviolable. To make him break it, you nor I are able.
And they exit, and we're left with the chorus, who stands.
For all this while the cards have been a-shuffling. By this time they're dealt. Now comes the scuffling. Clubs turn trumps. The giants have the ace on't. Yet they shall lose, for all they set a face on't. For though the gods have ne'er a club in hand, they'll win the game, as ye shall understand. Yet when Jove's wrath doth on the giants light, I'm sure you'll deal well with the clubs this night.
And sits down again for the next. I mean, you can almost call it an act, I suppose, because there's a chorus break. That's the first sort of unit of action. The giant gods are there. Giants declare war. God said, "Yeah, come and have a go if you think you're hard enough." And yes, off we go, and we shall do well with the clubs this night. And the cry of clubs for any kind of public fighting is a thing. And of course, this is a personification of the Knave of Clubs. Boom, boom. See what they did there. It continues to be very. I swear, oh, do not. It says, don't. Oh, I will.
Yeah, but they were afraid he was going to swear by sticks, which he does later.
Yes.
Once you swear by sticks, you really cannot ever break it.
Mm.
Yeah.
But again, you have the sort of the modern sense of, no naughty words. This is a family show.
Oh, I thought it was more like, oh, not again.
Yeah, maybe that too.
Or sticks and clubs.
Yeah. Can break my bones. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like, we got nice, really helpful stage directions of Pallas and Mars startle of, no, what is, yes. Anyway, Lynn.
Yeah, the rhyme continues to tickle me, and it sort of tends to fly under our radar because it's funny and it's silly, but sustaining this kind of comic rhyme is actually not that easy to do. This is actually really skillfully done.
Yes, and it does lean from relatively straightforward rhyming to the ridiculous. I mean, I don't, never go aloner, but Bologna. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Eric.
So bad it's good, it's
Yeah.
Yeah, I think these guys were hanging out with the, Gilbert and Saloon or something. What was I going to say? I like how this is actually quite fast and fun, and you can imagine a lot of business. Like maybe the shortest person is actually like Jupiter, and he's like, "I swear," like with inflated ego and stuff. Yeah, this is fun. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
I feel like I want this staged now, and I'm wondering if they knew, if they're like people who wrote this play knew about club law as well because of all the club references.
All of these things do seem to be, they're bouncing off the same sort of energy, and but in doing different things, and also you get the impression that this is taking what they have learnt of the classics and doing something very different with it. And yeah, I mean we've talked at relative length over a bit of text that doesn't last more than about 10-15 minutes so far. So it's 10 minutes. This play does not hang around. And it's what is physically going on here is an interesting question. We're going to run some scenes into each other because they're quite short. Scene 4: enter Bounce Big, Huge High, Rumble, Thunder-thwack, Bum Crack, Thump Pace, Giants.
Comment your piece is not a trade to thrive at. Rouse up your clubs. Oh. Huge, you're muted.
Soft, let's a while be private, for these many dangers rashly have begun wars. The safest way is to assault them unawares.
And they have a consultation as we go into scene 5. Enter Jupiter, Mars, Pallas aloft.
Ye know right well, ye powers, the sons of Titan make head against us, and they swear they'll fight on these lofty battlements till they pull us down from our seat royal heaven and our crown, impale the temples of their cursed head, and each upon our conquered helmets tread. Let us consult, since there is such occasion, how to withstand the giants' hot invasion.
Is not our angry look enough to terrify those maycocks? I will put them in such a fear if I come to them once, that they shall ask us pardon upon their knees, like the like was never heard on. Never was kingly lion bearded so by ants, and wilt thou thus be braved by silly giants? Revenge it, Jove!
And let them perish all.
If they persist, assure ye, they shall fall.
The giants rise from their council, their huddle.
I have it, lead on. My head hath hatched a stratagem, shall make the gods say mortals once have matched them.
They whisper again.
It must be so forced. Now let's begin to start them from their holes. Ooh, who's within? Why, Saturn, Mars, Pallas, Mercury, come forth from out the holes wherein you lurk, or I will be so be from ye. Faint is to resist, for we will fetch you down, and this same fist shall, like a massy club, light on your skulls and ding ye down. Who's he that disannuls what we command?
That doth Olympic Jove, that sways the heavens, and at whose nod doth move their weighty frame, borne up by sturdy Atlas. Do peevish mortals think for to out-prattle us?
What tongue is that breathed forth those menaces?
I spake them in their names.
Did you? Are men asses to run upon their deaths like mad folk frantic? Your rashness moves us. If ye perish, thank it.
How now, my masters? What are we in your eyes, that thus with taunts ye should provoke our furies?
If they go forwards as they make provision, I here protest, for I am no precision, that if this hand do once but set against them, they all shall die, nothing shall pay their ransom.
And instantaneously swipping to the other side.
Didst never hear? Minarum stirpitus is nothing else but asinorum crepitus. And dost thou think to fear us with a few of bugbear words and ranting speeches, mew?
Leave arms, poor wretches. Take it from me, you want age to fight with us unless upon advantage.
Then never trust me, but lest you should say we took ye advantage. We'll away until such time ye can provide your power. Then ye shall see we'll meet ye as an hour. How say ye, sirs, to this? Are ye content? For I'll do nothing without your consent.
We'll agree.
I agree.
Good mercies, then. Let's on.
Upon advantage, we will cope with none.
Exeunt the giants.
Oh, my ribs will burst with anger. Fetch a cooper, for I shall burst except I have a hoop here. What, am I Jove? How then can I endure these haughty speeches? And of men, be sure I'll pay them home at length, and they shall see Jove's power extends beyond mortality.
And exit the gods. Scene 6. Enter some different gods, Neptune, Pluto, and Mercury.
About some weighty matters, all's not well. What's the matter, Mercury? Canst tell?
Truly not I, except it be concerning the world's overthrow. There's somewhat for your learning.
Beware Jove's foes, then. If I go to Acheron for more supply, I'll bring them that shall make ye run. I'll fetch Alecto, Tisiphon, Megara, rather than fail. But come shall us to this gear, huh?
We'll be revenged, I swear, by this same trident, as rusty as a pan with bacon fried in it. Or we will run and fetch our mighty dolphin, with other fishes that are caught, which are naught but all fin.
But he expects your presence. Shall we go?
Lead on the way. We'll follow through its though it's snow.
And they exit. The chorus once again stands.
Some man will ask me why I should intend to let them fall, which use me as their friend. Giants and clubs are seldom seen asunder. Why should I let them have the worst, you wonder? Oh, sirs, I am a club, but yet the knave. Put that and that together, and ye have your answer. I do love, but to speak plain I, he that's a knave will play the knave with penny.
And sits back down again. So, yes, Neptune, I think, wins on the terrible rhyme couplets there.
It's a very competitive race.
Yeah, it's yeah. There's a lot to play for here. I do love this, that the giants come on and go. Hang on, we need a plan. Go. And Jupiter. Jupiter is very cross. Very cross. He's going to need need a Cooper to hoop him in.
So angry.
Cooper Hoopier. Yeah. I mean, I don't even know what accent these rhymes work in. I don't think even original pronunciation functions. But yeah, there's so much fun stuff there, and again physical stuff potentially here. The huddling them aloft, and oh yes, the potential terrible weapons that could be entered into this war. It's getting worse. It's getting worse, which is only good for us. Eric.
I like to think that sort of Jupiter's the one who's trying to have like. Jupiter and the gods are basically in a different play, but like Jupiter especially is sort of in a grandiose sort of tragedy about the gods or something, whereas everyone else is like it's probably a comedy or something, or just I don't know, yeah, because he keeps getting interrupted and he really doesn't seem to enjoy being interrupted.
No, well, Jupiter, go figure. Okay, let's see where we go from here. Scene 7, enter Jupiter, Mars, and Pallas.
Are not we king of heaven, and sole commander of all things in the earth? Commander, stand there. Here we'll take counsel what shall best befit the danger of these times. Here each one sit. You are not ignorant, you powers of this, how the insensate giants, led amiss by overdaring pride, are up in arms, knocking at heaven's gates with loud alarms. In vain may mortals seek for help from me. What expectation can they have to see with sacred odors on our altars thrown one venge their wrongs that cannot wreak his own? Whilst we securely snort and think on naught, the giants bandy weapons at our throat. What is your counsel in this case, ye powers? We must do something in these few short hours.
Scene 8, enter Pluto, Neptune, and Mercury to Jupiter.
Welcome unto us, brothers. Ye have heard how we were well nigh pulled by the beard by proud insulting rebels that defy the power of Jove and his eternity. And now, without your aid, I shall be brought to narrow exigence, our crown being sought.
Those rebels be, are we not Uranus, Jupiter, Pluto, and sea god Neptunus? Let us know them, and if any power be in the sea's vast womb, shall devour those rascals up.
The like doth promise Pluto. Brother, you need not fear. I'm sure you know what power belongs to the Stygian prince. Rests all at your command, and hath e'er since we first enjoyed the crown of Erebus, and were the master of the three-throated Cerberus. We'll send our furies with their locks so snaky, and look to it then, whoe'er ye be, they'll make ye repent the wrongs that ye have done our brother. 'Twere better ye meddled with some other.
I make no question, for I always find that you are ever unto me thus kind. Pallas, relate unto them who they be that do molest us, for it vexeth me to think upon them.
They are Titans issue and swear they will have Jove, however they miss you. Unless his crown Jove will to them resign, they'll pull us all from him.
This is fine.
First, we will send our herald Mercury to summon them to parley ere they die. If they refuse our proffered amity, there's none but dies, or else I am not I. Go, Mercury, and unto every giant say, for what's past, to pardon we are pliant, if they will leave off this hostility and part in peace. If not, we have ability to make them veil the top flags of their pride. This tell them, Mercury.
Exit Mercury.
Our power is tried. Think not, ye powers, that it is fear in us that makes us sue for peace unto them thus. No, 'tis because we pity their estate, and would reclaim them, for it were too late. But who can help it? They must fall in the end, that with a greater than themselves contend.
And exuent. Trying diplomacy, the diplomatic touch there. It's all sort of plot and stuff going on here, setting up where we're going next. We seem to have lost Alan, which is why I'm sort of vamping here. I wasn't going to pause, I was just going to move straight on, but I'm assuming internet problems or computer problems have got in the way. But yeah, it's interesting. We've introduced in the earlier scene Neptune, Pluto, and Mercury. Mercury are sort of these slightly separate players who are joining into the court action here. The way they have their little separate conversation, and I'm not sure precisely how the court Jupiter is functioning here. I don't know. I'm trying to think about this text like any of this matters, and that we're not just dancing from one pun to another. But Lois.
Yeah, I mean, this does feel like a bit of padding. We've already had Jupiter discussing with, his own courtiers what to do next, and then he's not sure what to do, and then along come his brothers, who then have further discussion, and then they agree to go and talk to the giants. I mean, it feels as if they're spinning it out a bit.
Yeah. Eric.
I like to think that Pluto has his own agenda, because kind of basically he wouldn't have any worry about being pulled from heaven, because he's not God. He's God of the underworld. He wouldn't have that problem. So when he goes, this is fine. It's like, no, I'm not. This is not my. I ain't got beef, kind of thing. Put it in American terms.
Yeah, I think the line's sarcastic, isn't it? They'll pull us all from heaven. Ho ho, this is fine. That's what they think. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, this is such an uneven contest as well. I mean, there is an element that is basically just going, really, this is just really annoying, because it's just I could just swap them like that. I don't want to. Can we just, I'm just getting cross. It's not doing my blood pressure any good. And yeah, it's not going well. Okay, I've vamped for as long as we can. We're just going to have to hope Alan appears, or I'll just read in everything that he does. I think it's okay. I can probably read him in for the foreseeable. So we'll go into scene 9. Enter Bounce Big, Thunder-thwack, Huge High, Rumble, Bumcrack, Thump-a-pace, and Rouncivall.
We sent for you, great Rouncivall, to aid us against the gods, because they do upbraid us that we have ne'er a woman to meet Pallas. Now thou shalt be her. Wilt thou not?
Alas, think ye that Rumble's wife doth care a fig to fight alone withal? No, Bounce Big. I'll with one little finger and a thumb take 3 giants, Huge High, Thunder-thwack, and Bumcrack, and beat them all at once.
Ye threat not, Rouncivall. Thou'lt have too much to do at once of all. Of us 3 to fight with. Fight with her, and spare not, and meddle not with us.
Do you think I care not, or do you think this brawny arm, if it hit right, cannot do any harm? Well, though I speak not, I will warrant more, when comes to the push, else I'm an arrant whore.
It is enough. Let's stay no more Jove's pleasure. Shall we be fools to wait upon his leisure? Then we shall make wise work. 'Tis time we were, if you will credit me, about this gear. I vow, ere night, I will have Diana to my spouse.
Yeah.
My masters, what do you mean? Why, nah. When shall us about it?
Instantly in Vulcan, you shall have horns enough. Look like your skull can hold out. You air best.
Enter Mercury.
Are you come at length? How now? Has Jupiter prepared his strength? What answer sends he? Shall we to the fight?
He sends these words by me to wish each one a fart in peace, and he, on that condition, will pardon what is best, but if he see you will not leave off this hostility and part in peace, he will pull down your pride.
Grant mercies, Jupiter, that shall be tried.
Tell Jupiter from us we'll ne'er lay down these arms we bear till we have cracked his crown. So get ye gone and tell him we are coming with proud defiance, though we have no drumming. Exit Mercury.
Come on, my masters, now we must all stand to it. There's not a giant, but we must set a hand to it.
Set forwards, then. Yonder next night we'll sup, and Jove's own Ganymede shall fill our cup. Okay, so fighting talk amongst the giants there. Giants arguing among them. Rouncivall just doesn't want to have anything to do with them. Is there a fight there? Do they actually have a little fight? Is there a moment in there where actual fighting happens, or is it just the threat of a fight? I'm just wondering about how physical that all could be, and how many hats do I need to wear going forward.
Yeah, I think she just threatens, as far as I can see.
Yeah, I think it's just waving at them and going from there.
Well, I think also the bit about what's his face? Bounce having that Diana as his wife and so on is basically like the sort of locker room talk. It's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna take down that big guy. Oh yeah, right, you're gonna take down the big guy. Yeah, right.
Okay. Let us carry on and see where we get. Scene 10, thunder. There's thunder. I can't reach my thunder thing. Enter Jupiter, Mars, Pallas, Neptune, Pluto in arms.
Thus, sore against our will, we are constrained to use these weapons. Yet, if they refrained now at the length, why, we would be content to let them live still. Mercury was sent to show our mind unto them. We shall know when he's returned if they'll submit or no.
Enter Mercury.
And here he comes now. Mercury, what news? What say the giants? Do they yet refuse to be in league and amity?
They do, and thus they bade me, I should say to you, tell Jupiter, say they, we'll ne'er lay down these arms we bear till we have cracked his crown. That's all that they would send thee for an answer, and they have promised to be here anon. And there they are, indeed. Enter Bounce Big, Huge High, Rumble, Rouncivall, Thunder-thwack, Crack, Thump-a-face, everyone with his hill. To be discussed later.
My masters come. 'Tis a foul fault that we should want a drum. 'Tis no matter. Crack, thou and Rumble, do but your heads and tails together jumble, and you shall hear so hideous alarum that, had we naught else, that alone would fear 'em. Thunder-thwack, thou and I, we must not blunder, but put our best voice to it, to outcrack the thunder. We must lay load on Thump-a-pace. Huge High, thou, our tallest giant, and we know no cow. Oh, wert thou, but 3 horse loaves higher, thou shouldst throw among them Etna all on fire. Come, courage hearts, now give the signal, Rumble.
Not he, good Bounce Big, he can but fumble. Let Bum-crack do it, he'll have the shriller trumpet. Then all the heaven brave gogs, up, and thump it.
Pelion, lie thou there, whilst I get up on thee. Now I am well, make haste. You'll come anon, ye?
At hand, and whilst I bravely rush on, lie still, great Ossa, thou must be my cushion.
Here, Malagolem, stand, thou noble hill-o. If Ossa's his cushion, thou must be my pillow.
Up, Luby, up, and now that I see him on, let Bum-crack roar. On thy top plump Plylimion. Olympus here, Rumble, us bestrides thee. Wince not, Olympus, cast him not that rides thee.
Come, Rouncivall, we're lag, but we're not hammer. We'll choose those hills that lie beside the grammar. Heteroclites are a map of Lily, in that his street is where he is so hilly. I'll take Dindymus and take thou Gargarus. Now we are all fitted to it, Jove, never spare us.
Stand still, rebellious race, and come no nigher. There shall not any put a foot up higher. What madness makes ye that ye should affect the regal throne of heaven? Do we neglect to manage our affairs, as doth require the seat we now possess? That ye aspire to sit in our tribunal. Once more we'll proffer calm peace unto ye. If ye refuse our offer, henceforth, with thunder armed, we will transfix those hateful bulks of yours. I swear, by Styx.
Twit'll come, twats, nor I nor Thunder-thwack here will argue o'er till thy guts be our garter.
Give the onset, and what we do mount here, the good honest bounce, but give the first encounter.
Degenerate earth sons, how dare ye venture to break the prescript limits of the center to which you were confined? Was heaven allotted to earth-born brats? I think ye are besotted. Unlike are ye unto the earth below, from whence you had your being. You shall know. Heaven's not a place for any of the brood of that gross element.
Well, sir, for good you held your tongue. On noble climb of the clough, they shall perceive we come not from the plough.
Set forwards, then!
Come on, my lads of metal. There's not a god, but we'll be sure to nettle.
And there is a fight, and I'll just note at this point, there is a slightly alternative version of the text that follows next. We'll come to that later.
Nay, then, I'll send for aid, and straight there will come one that will make ye shake. Arise, Trisulcum!
Enter Thunderbolt.
Kill Bounce Big first, then take them all in order that were the causes of this great disorder. Die, rogues and rascals, now that ye are under holt, some stifled with the hills, some with our thunderbolt.
Throws down the giants.
Leave, Thunderbolt, hie thee to Vulcan's smith, new edge and metal to repair thee with.
Exit Thunderbolt. The giants are all wounded. This is where the alternative version ends. Anyway, we are left with Bounce.
Hold, great Jove! Thou art able for to thwart all our fond proceeding. I am but mortal. For now I well perceive my men are all put to the worst, and I, that am their general, have death's wound. My blood begins to issue, and what we do, you care not for it. Issue. Stoop, Pelion, thou that wast my stout upholder. Let me come down, good Pelion, from thy shoulder, for I must go unto the sculler Charon, who churlish chuff will scarce agree to bear on over Styx unless he pay a shilling. Thus the whole world lives only upon pilling. But oh, I die. A boat, good ferryman. To Pluto, ho, farewell. I know there's ne'er a man, but well can witness not to tell a lie on it, that here I fall like a courageous giant.
And Bounce dies. Down, down, insulting rebels, on your helms. Neptune triumphant treads.
And Jove o'erwhelms the mountains on you.
Earth and Big Bounce's helmet, now they do kiss each other. They are well met.
Thus are we reinvested and possessed of heaven's seat royal. Never shall we rest, and perfectly heaven's potent king be crowned, till, as our oath requires, the world be drowned and purged from all these miscreants, and then we shall effect our full revenge on men. In the meantime, brothers, to you we owe our love for your assistance, and we'll show hereafter how we prize thee. To you all, Jove gives his general thanks. Now let's in and revel. since that the hills and mountains are laid level.
And exeunt. And the epilogue, it's done by the chorus, who presumably stands up. Eric, could you read the chorus in the absence of Alan?
What? City you still, sirs? What is it, kind friends, that ye expect more? For here the play ends, I can assure you. Oh, then I suppose you do expect some ceremonious close and pleasing upshot, it be so. So you'll find your expectations, if it be so, you'll find your expectations frustrate, since our mind was, as in all the progress, so to make a mock play in the end. Yet for your sake, thus much I'll say, they that Jove's power withstand humbly submits themselves unto your hands.
And exit with those final lines of, what are you still doing here? Bugger off. Okay, there's a lot to unpack here. So it seems that the hills are literally actors, and the giants climb on their backs in some fashion. So they're piggybacking around the stage. So all this stuff about climbing on, I mean, it might be that there's some sort of structure that they're a part of, but they are definitely human beings driving everything. So we have this pitched battle with people playing piggyback against each other. So it should look absolutely ridiculous. And then we have the entrance of Thunderbolt, who I just want to be covered in tinfoil, basically. I just want someone who's just literally just that. That's all they are. Just a really. I want it to be a rubbish costume if we're doing it, because they're undercutting all of this. And yeah, all this stuff climbing onto their various hills for the battle. And then Bounce's final speech. I mean. So much fun stuff. Lois.
Yeah, I just wonder exactly what they do here. I mean, they come in riding on presumably bigger actors or actors in some sort of device that looks like a hill. But then I believe what the gods do and Thunderbolt does is to pile the hills on top of them. So what happens here exactly? Do they get thrown off, and then do the hills jump on top of them?
Yeah, some stifled with the hills, some with our Thunderbolt. So it seems to be some sort of mix and matching process going on there as to precisely what the Thunderbolt does. But yeah, I just assume that at the end of it, there's just a big pile of bodies all over each other, and how they arrange themselves could be quite amusing as well. I mean, there's huge potential for chaos, amusing chaos, not terrible chaos. And I think the potential here is huge. There is some more data on that battle, because we do have the alternative version of the scene. On how the fight ends, because where I said, the Jupiter is about to the fight begins in theory according to the text, and then Jupiter, maybe they're losing, maybe the gods are losing, and Jupiter then calls in for reinforcements. So Jupiter, take it away with the alternative version of the fight.
Okay. Nay, since I am thus urged, I'll call one will come, shall peps them all at once. Full men trisulcum.
Enter Thunderbolt in a Fury's coat, ugly vizard, and a wheel of crackers.
O herald of our wrath, now they're under holt with thy cacophorgous, dispatch Thunderbolt. Kill that same Bounce big. Kill them all pell-mell. Tumble each giant from his hill to hell.
Thunderbolt lets fly. The giants droop on the tops of their hills.
Aye, rogues and rascals, our fell anger under, some pressed with hills, some knocked down with our thunder. Thunderbolt had done, hie thee to Vulcan's smith, new edge and metal to repair thee with.
The giants are slain and carried out on the backs of the hills. Bounce Big, wounded on the top of his hill, speaks, and then we have the death speech of Bounce. So that gives us a very pragmatic answer to the question you just asked. How do they do it? They kind of fudge it. And that speaks to me of the fudge. That speaks to me of how they finally, get Jupiter to narrate and tell the actors what to do when to do it, because they probably won't have had enough rehearsal for this bit, and it would be really helpful if someone just told them what to do. I love the wheel of crackers as well. I mean, I'm assuming that's not, saying you can put cheese on. I'm assuming that's a sort of Catherine's wheel of fireworks or something.
Yeah.
Christmas crackers.
Lynn, you were waving ages ago before we read this little bit.
Maybe I was just twitching. But yeah, Thunderbolt has a rubbish costume. Well, yeah, I mean they all have rubbish costumes. This is like this is an invitation to hilarious rubbish costumes. This whole play.
I just love the idea that Jupiter calls for Thunderbolt and everyone goes, is this in the script? And they literally have to get a roll of foil and then quickly just grab someone from the audience or something like that. And it's like, we didn't know this was happening. This wasn't in the script.
I was thinking of the hills as like a prop. It was like a papier-mâché lump that they, but like a person in like, I don't know, a burlap bag or something. I'm a hill.
Well, I mean, it might be that it functions a bit like a hobby horse, in the sense you've got a big hooped skirt or something that you've got, but you've got to have an actor in it, driving it, because they've got to climb on and move around and do stuff. I mean, that's why it'd be really helpful for the giants to be as small as possible, because they've got to sit on someone's shoulders for a few minutes. I mean, it's not an extremely long sequence, but people get tired, and people are heavy. And that's a difficult thing. So yeah. Well, I had a lot of fun.
That's fun, yeah. I haven't had a death speech in a while. That was really awesome to be able to do that.
But I die.
My blood begins to issue, and if you just had like some kind of prop where you have like red liquid squirting out of
ketchup, like, and he doesn't stop. It just like it takes him forever to die.
I wouldn't be very happy with you, but it could be very funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's yeah. I mean, it's basically got one gag and it plays it a lot. And actually, I might, as Lois was saying, there's a bit of weird padding somewhere in the middle. It might be pragmatic padding. There might be a very good structural reason why it's really helpful. But and I do get the impression that Bumcrack is just constantly farting. I'm sorry for that, because all this stuff, my masters come. Bumcrack, thou and Rumble do butt your heads and tails together jumble, and they shall hear a hideous alarum. So I'm assuming that there's some sort of winding up, rumbling, and Bumcrack to produce some sort of terrible alarum of. I mean, I don't want to think of the alarum of Bumcrack, frankly, as he goes into war. Lois.
Yeah. But there was something I noticed earlier. I mean, I hate to ruin a fart joke, but I think there's a bit where someone says, they're going to fart peace. I'm pretty sure that's a part in peace, because it comes up again later in the stanza. Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't really make any sense. So
yeah.
Noble Hillo, thou must be my pillow, is a classic for the ages.
Yeah.
That must be my cushion.
Yeah. So the one of the problems with reading as told is we don't have a chance to really hit those ridiculous rhymes, which you would with some rehearsal. Because some of these are pretty funny.
Okay. Final thoughts around the room, Lois. I mean, can we dig deep about the subtext that is?
Yeah, well, yes, I see Jupiter as a deeply tormented and conflicted person. A god who has all sorts of problems. I mean, with his status, the fact that he had a traumatic childhood, nearly being eaten by his father. I mean, it's difficult to come back.
His marital problems. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it really is. It's school play fodder as well. It really, isn't it? It's not even university play fodder. This for a modern audience. This is a school play fodder, and absolutely perfect for it. Lynn, do you have any deep insights to add?
The final thought. No, but I don't know where this comes from or what this is, but it was very fun. It was, I like a good crappy rhyme, and and all this sort of manly man boasting, and which comes to nothing, is also something I find funny.
Mm.
So, yeah, I'd like to know more about the provenance of this, but this was a fun one.
Yeah, I mean, basically, it's a university entertainment of some description. We don't really have a proper auspice. We know it's collected with some of the other fun ones we've done, like Christmas Mess, etc. So it's coming from the same sort of source, but we don't really know who put it on or precisely when. We've got about 6 years.
What occasion or whatever.
Yeah, somewhere around Christmas. I think they mentioned that in the chorus. So
Yeah,
and
perhaps
I,
just after Christmas, because I think he says that the Knave of Clubs says that they're not playing cards anymore now that Christmas is over. So it might be, I don't know, a Candlemas play or Epiphany, I don't know, right at the end of the Christmas season, maybe.
So yeah, it's it's got all of the same elements. It's just it's just very silly. Makes me very happy. Eric, any final thoughts?
I want to throw this at a bunch of actors and see what they do with it. And also, I imagine it has like sort of a similar budget to the Narcissus play we read, where it was like, "This bucket shall stand for a pond." And it was just kind of fun to read, and just
it's definitely the thing to do at the end of a season. Especially if you're doing an all day of a series of events, this is the play to close on. At the end of the day, when, shall we say, perfection is less than necessary, and something that's a bit chaotic, but which can involve everyone who's been involved across the day. I'm thinking very specifically of how to function day-long events now, and this is definitely going there as one of my closing numbers, because you want to end the day on the cheerful happiness and light. Lynn.
Yeah, okay, that's a great production context, but I'm thinking that you give some of your students in your classical studies survey class this script to do is like for extra credit at the end of the term for the class.
Yes, I do wonder. Actually, I was joking about the depths, the meaty depths of this text, but I do wonder actually whether there are a series of actually clever jokes in there, which referring to mythology and the way some of these things are working that my casual surface knowledge isn't picking up. I don't think there are, but it might be a case that if someone who's deep in the classics at the time would go ha ha randomly, and everyone else in the audience looks at them going, what?
There might be Easter eggs we don't know about.
Yeah, it seems pretty obvious to me, but it'd be interesting to do it after doing Heywood's The Golden Age. I mean, that has all of the same material. Of course, that's already treated rather lightheartedly in Heywood, but
yes, but more problematically because it's lightheartedly played.
Yeah, I kind of like that idea, because it's like, the Heywood's until we get to the Golden Age. It's so rapey. This would kind of lighten the mood a little.
Yes, the Iron Age plays work considerably better than the earlier ones, where they occasionally work, but then there's a sort of pick and mix element. Okay. Well, we've gone around the room.
I do like the description. Sorry to interrupt. I just like the description that Bounce uses. Our tallest giant, and we know no cow, or wert thou, but 3 horse loaves higher. It's just like, what's a horse loaf for one thing? And is that like a hay bale kind of thing, or is it literally a loaf of bread? Because the image is hilarious.
I'm sure we've heard horse loaf somewhere else before. I don't think that's a misprint. I could be wrong. I do actually have an edition here, so I can have a little look to see if there is. There is actually a note on that, so I can live looking at the footnotes. This is the most exciting of video excitements here. I think I found it. Yeah, no cow. Horse loaves. These are loaves of bread made as food for horses. So there.
Okay.
New thing every day. Thank you to David L. Russell's edition in the Stuart Academic Drama edition. Which I last time we did one of these plays, I forgot I actually had this, and we did the session, and afterwards went, oh, bugger. Totally forgotten to dig it out. But this time I did. This time I actually had footnotes to correct things as I go. Most of the errors in the text are authentic errors, by the way. So if you were saying something that was a bit weird, that's because they were a bit weird in the text. Manuscripts are like that, more so than printed texts. Okay, Any other thoughts? No. Okay, well, all that remains to thank all the wonderful readers for all their wonderful reading. Thank you very much, everyone, and goodbye. We'll be revenged, I swear, by this same trident, as rusty as a pan, with bacon fried.